Afternoon, everyone. Many viewers of this channel and some other people had requested to prepare a video on the current perspectives in management of COVID-19 in children. So these are as per updated up till April 2021. I would recommend that before going through this video, you must go through the other two videos on COVID-19 I had published last year for a better understanding. So the clinical classification of a COVID positive child timeline of pathophysiology in children continues to remain the same. There is no difference. Last time, the approach to management was discussed on the basis of clinical categorization or classification and the phase of illness, especially the pharmacotherapy. Actually, the management is still based on these two points only, but I have presented it differently, considering the age-wise distribution in different categories. So, the management in newborns between 1 month to 2 years of age, 2 to 8 years of age, and more than 8 years of age. In newborns less than 1 month of age, the intranatal management, actually these are the latest which have been published in the year May 2021 in New Reviews, which is a publication of the American Academy of Pediatrics. So the points which you have to remember during the intranatal care of the baby are deferred cord clamping and early skin to skin contact, since these 2 points are also endorsed by the World Health Organization as per this review. Then a 2% technique should be used for bag and mask ventilation. The first person holding the mask and creating the seal, while the second person presses the bag. And the transport of the neonate should be via a predetermined path in a closed incubator. So the basic management remains supportive only whether or not the infection is early, that is transmitted from the mother, or late, that is acquired postnatally. Exclusive breastfeeding needs to be followed only, except only if the mother or baby is too critical requiring separation for management. But it is very important that if the mother is COVID positive, then respiratory and hygiene etiquette should be clearly followed by her. Routine immunization needs to be done, and vitamin D supplementation, which we routinely give to newborns, especially in India, needs to be continued. Then the entity neonatal misc has also been reported in this new review. It is referred to as MIS-N, but the reports are very few. Only experimental therapies here and there, steroids, IVIG, have been used, and the outcomes have also been variable. All in all, it is not yet well reported. Everything is under investigation or research. Now coming on to mild illness in age group 1 month to 2 years. This is the at-risk age group, if you would recall from the previous video. The management is mainly supportive, vitamin C, D, zinc and paracetamol. The doses and all I had discussed in the last video. The age group is between 2 years to 8 years and the child has mild illness. You need to give the same. Along with this, you can add ivermectin 0.2 mg per kg ODHS 2 hours after dinner for 3 days. AIMS ICMR guidelines published on 22nd April, they have mentioned ivermectin to be used as a standalone drug in mild cases, but they haven't specified the pediatric age group per se. So it depends on your will. Like actually, this is the age group beyond which you can give ivermectin. If the child is more than 8 years of age and has mild illness, then along with vitamin C, D, zinc, paracetamol and ivermectin, you can add on doxycycline. Now, if the child is suffering from severe to critical illness and the age is more than 1 month, then remdesivir has been mentioned in IEP April 2021. These are the latest guidelines in pediatrics, and they say that you can consider administering remdesivir if the weight band is between 3.5 to 40 kgs. The dose is 5 mg per kg on day 1 followed by 2.5 mg per kg on days 2 to 5 given in infusion, and if the weight is more than 40 kgs, then 200 mg on day 1 followed by 100 mg on days 2 to 5. But remember, should not be given with HCQ or ivermectin doxycycline, And the contraindications are hepatic or renal dysfunction, that is ALT or AST more than 5 times upper limit normal, or creatinine clearance less than 30 ml per minute. Then steroids. See, IAP April 2021 has mentioned that dexamethasone 0.15 mg per kg OD for 5 to 14 days can be used in patients with severe to critical illness, but needs to be stopped before discharge. And other steroids can be used in special conditions. But the AIMS pediatric guidelines published on 14th of April, they mention prednisolone at the rate of 1 mg per kg per day, maximum 40 mg for 5 to 14 days or equivalent doses of other steroids. So you can use either dexa or prednisolone. Then enoxaparin, the dose has been better defined by IAP. In less than 2 months of age, the dose is 1.5 mg per kg per dose BD, whereas in more than 2 months of age, the dose is 1 mg per kg per dose BD. But IAP guidelines have not mentioned any specific indications. They only say you can consider them in patients with severe to critical illness. However, the AIMS pediatric guidelines published on 14th April, they have mentioned 3 specific indications for using enoxaparin, and these are established thrombosis, coronary aneurysm with a Z-score more than 10, and left ventricular ejection fraction less than 35%. Along with, you have to monitor factor 10A levels, which should be maintained between 0.5 to 1 if the child is on enoxaparin therapy. Also, prone positioning can be considered, and the IAP says that you should not routinely go for HRCT in children with COVID-19. You should consider going for HRCT only if 2 successive RT-PCRs for COVID-19 are negative in a patient with strong clinical suspicion. Then only you should go for HRCT. So to summarize, the mainstay of management of COVID-19 in children is still the same, that is supportive care, as I had discussed in the last video. The management of asymptomatic, mild, moderate and severe cases continues to remain the same, except for the fact that ivermectin, doxycycline have received more mention than HCQ, because HCQ requires a lot of cardiac monitoring, etc. And ivermectin has also been found to block the ACE2 receptors via which the COVID-19 actually attacks the body. So summarizing the IAP April 2021 guidelines, in severe critical illness, one can consider awake proning, remdesivir if weight is more than 3 kgs, steroid in which IAP mentions dexamethasone preferably, enoxaparin the dose of which has been better defined. So all these therapies IAP has said that you may consider in severe or critical illness. So ultimately it depends on you and your clinical acumen as to what you are using in which patient and how. What I have concluded is that awake proning and remdesivir, these are 2 things which IAP has come out more clearly in these guidelines, but it still says you may consider. It is not that you have to use it, you may consider. While steroid and enoxaparin, they were used previously also and needs to be continued today also. Thank you very much for a patient listening. I hope I could do justice, and have a good day.